Hello everyone, welcome back to YouTube channel Duval Mafia here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Sunday's game, a couple different things going on around the league, and the possibility of the Jaguars keeping Darrell Bevell and Joe Cullen. So to start off this video, I'm going to talk about Sunday and a little recap of Sunday. So the Jaguars actually defeated the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, spoiling their playoff berth, and even though Carson Wentz was a move they made this offseason in hopes of making the playoffs, he falls just a single game short of the playoffs in the AFC. And believe it or not, the Lions actually beat the Packers. Now, I know Rodgers was benched for about half the game or whatever it was, but the Lions actually did beat the Packers, meaning even with a win on Sunday, the Jacksonville Jaguars still secured the #1 overall pick at 3-14. Now, obviously, this isn't ideal, but getting the #1 overall pick gives the Jaguars a lot more options than possibly the #2 overall pick. They have a lot more options with trading down, whether it's with the Lions, if they have a certain guy they like, or the Jets, Giants, maybe even the Eagles. They have multiple first-round picks. They're all in the teens, though. And this could be a very interesting offseason for the Jaguars, in all honesty. I'm kind of liking the way it's going so far. Now, I know Trent Baalke's still not fired, which I'm not happy about, but there's only so much you can do each day. I think the Jaguars had a very good Sunday with spoiling the Colts season and also maintaining the #1 overall pick all in one day. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. So with the Jaguars securing the #1 overall pick, this now means that they have their choice of Kayvon Thibodeaux, Aiden Hutchinson, Evan Neal, or trading down. They have plenty of options, and whoever is the GM this offseason, whether it is Baalke still or is a new guy, they're going to have a lot to work with this offseason, which is going to be very good, because the Jaguars will also be top 3 in cap space in the NFL for the 2022 offseason, so they'll be able to do a lot this offseason. I think the Jaguars are actually going into a very good spot. Trevor Lawrence looked very good, possibly his best game of the entire rookie season for him in that last game. So if he starts playing like that consistently, as well as we have other players like Tyson Campbell, Andre Sisco, Josh Allen, Dwan Smoot even, Clayvon Chason maybe gets a little more playing time and produces a little bit more. Shaquille Griffin, I want to see him step up a little bit more last year. He was good at times this year, but he wasn't the #1 guy that we went out and got him to be. But with the emergence of Tyson Campbell, he might be able to get away with being a solid CB2 if Tyson Campbell does emerge into that CB1 role. Andre Sisco has looked good in a couple of games. I know he didn't get a ton of playing time, but I hope to see him get a lot more playing time next year. Maybe even a starting role week 1. We'll see. I'm not sure. Walker Little was another one that's very pleasing to me. I think now that he's fully healthy and he's starting to get game reps, you can see that he has the talent that he always had. It is still there, even though he did tear his ACL. He still has that talent, and I'm actually excited to see that he can progress into maybe being our franchise left tackle or right tackle, or being just an important part on this offensive line and an important part in protecting Trevor. That's one of the most important things that I want to see the Jaguars address this offseason. But the Jaguars are actually going into a good position, in my honest opinion. Now, I do hope they get rid of Baalke, but only time will tell on that regard. And Joe Cullen is actually being lobbied by the defensive starters and a lot of the defensive personnel to stay as the defensive coordinator for 2022. Now, if he will is still up for debate. I don't actually know just yet, because there's a lot that can happen. If the Jaguars get an interview for defensive coordinator with somebody like Vic Fangio or another very good defensive mind who's a veteran and been around the league a long time, it might be enough to get rid of Joe Cullen. I'm not sure. Joe Cullen did a decent job, but people have to understand this defense was nowhere near elite or nowhere near anything special to the point where he becomes untouchable. It just isn't the case. And Darrell Bevell is being interviewed to continue as the head coach 2022. I think this is just the Jaguars doing their due diligence. I don't think there's too much to it. I think there's too many head coaching candidates that are intriguing for the Jacksonville Jaguars and intriguing to help develop Trevor Lawrence that I can't really see them keeping Darrell Bevell. I mean, nothing that Darrell Bevell did wrong, but I just don't think he's shown enough to maintain the job and basically keep it away from other guys that could come in and fix the job, whether it be Jim Caldwell, Doug Peterson, Kellen Moore, Byron Leftwich. I mean, there's a ton of names out there right now, and I just really don't see the Jaguars sticking with Darrell Bevell. But I do like to see they're doing their work and they're just interviewing him just because, I mean, you got to do it. He was the interim head coach, and yeah, I mean, they did win in the final week of the season. To move on to the next topic, around the league, there's been a couple shocking moves. One being the Miami Dolphins actually firing head coach Brian Flores for reasons that apparently he had messed up relationships with quarterback Tua, as well as the GM Chris Greer, I believe his name is, which is kind of shocking to me because I thought Brian Flores was a very good head coach for them. I'm not saying he was one of the best in the league, but he was definitely in the middle of the pack towards the higher end in my honest books. I was kind of surprised to see that because I didn't think he deserved to be fired. I thought they had a decent season considering Tua got hurt, as well as there was many other things that went wrong for them during the season. Another shocking one for me is the Giants actually not moving on from Joe Judge. I don't hate the move because they're giving him a little bit more of a chance to show more, as they did have a lot of struggles this year with injuries and such, but I am kind of shocked that names like Brian Flores were getting fired, meanwhile Joe Judge is keeping a job. Doesn't really make sense to me. That just doesn't seem like it makes any sense. I mean, Joe Judge did half the coaching job Brian Flores did, yet one kept his job and the other got fired. It's just shocking to me. Chicago also making a couple big moves with a lot of firings. They're seemingly cleaning their house out, which is what they should do with Justin Fields coming in. Get Justin Fields the help he deserves. And overall, I think this is going to be a very exciting offseason for the NFL in general, and as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm excited to see what many teams do because obviously I don't want to see other teams struggle. Obviously, I want to see the Jacksonville Jaguars be the best and win the Super Bowl and be the team to succeed. But it doesn't mean I want to see other players and other coaches and other teams struggle. That's not what I want. The only time I'm rooting against a team is when they're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars that week, unless it's a division rival, of course. And on to my final topic. I already did touch on it a bit, but I'm going to go a little bit more towards the Joe Cullen and Darrell Bevell side of it. So Darrell Bevell is officially interviewing on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, for the head coaching job for 2022. And again, I don't think he's going to get that job, but if he does, I'm not going to be exactly happy, but I think this is just the Jaguars doing their due diligence, and I don't really think anybody should be overthinking it too much. And as for Joe Cullen, I would maybe like to see him stay, simply if there's nobody better on the market for the Jaguars. And what I mean by this is if a guy like Vic Fangio, as I mentioned before, or one of these top guys that's a defensive mind, been around the league for a very long time, been on a lot of staffs for elite defenses, if one of those guys becomes available, I wouldn't be opposed to moving on from Cullen for one of them. But as I said, I'm okay with keeping Cullen so long there's not a better option that appears or arises for the Jaguars. I don't think he's done enough to be untouchable and not for the Jaguars to think about replacing him. But I do agree with the fact that he has done enough to at least be able to fight for his job. And if there's a rookie defensive coordinator coming in, I don't think he's better than Joe Cullen. I would rather keep Joe Cullen in that sense. But if it is a proven defensive coordinator that's helped build multiple good defenses in the NFL at the NFL level, I can argue that getting them was probably better off than keeping Joe Cullen. But again, that becomes the Jaguars' choice, and I'm not opposed to keeping Joe Cullen. I actually like the job he did this year. I know that he didn't do an amazing job, but with what he had to work with and what he got from the players, I think he did an okay job. So without further ado, I'm going to wrap up this video, and I apologize for the voice. I am still recovering a little bit, and I am still sick, but I am trying my best to help you guys out and make videos for you guys. And if you did make it this far, thank you, and I appreciate you for listening. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you are new, make sure to subscribe. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure to show a friend, show a family member, show somebody. If you know a Jaguars fan, send it to them. I'm trying to grow this thing as best as I can, and I appreciate any support. And thank you as always, and I appreciate you guys so much. Alright, peace out, Duval.